Every person has a story, but not everyone has a place to tell it. I'm Frank Swoboda. I've interviewed amazing people all over the planet. I want you to meet them. This week, the most interesting person you've never heard of is...
I'm Sister Madonna, and I'm the most interesting person you've never heard of. Well, as of date, I have completed perhaps 400 triathlons. Just triathlons, not duathlons or running.
What's a duathlon?
Just two of the three, which would be mostly composed of running and, what's left?
Is it biking?
Cycling. Yes, thank you.
Gotcha. So, so you were born when?
1930.
And I in your book, I read that you were quite the horse.
Oh, yes, I was a champion equestrian.
At what age?
Oh, this was during high school.
So you started with being involved in athletics pretty young.
Well, I didn't consider it young in those days. But when I look back of it in perspective, I guess, no, it was in place with the age I was at the time.
And also in your book, which is, really great, The Grace to Race, which I think is a cool title. It talks about how you were actually courted by a lot of young gentlemen when you were in high school or college.
Oh, yes.
Tell me about that.
Well, I guess I was a little bit attractive, and so I didn't have any trouble finding, they found me rather, to take out. And one of the memorable ones, though, was Dr. Tom Dooley. And he appeared at the hunt breakfasts, which I attended on Sundays. My brothers did some hunting, and my style was 3-gated and 5-gated, and that needed an arena. But I did want to go on a fox hunt one time, and then there was a lady who did it on a side saddle, but only certain horses will tolerate side saddle. So we had to find a horse that did, and one of ours did. So I was able to go on a fox hunt side saddle and thoroughly enjoyed it.
Where was that?
In St. Louis. That was my hometown.
Wow. And so you, how did you connect from that to becoming a nun? What was the calling? When did you know?
Well, my father was not Catholic, and we had a public school within maybe 4 blocks of us, and he saw no reason why I shouldn't walk to school and attend the public school. And through 6th grade, way back then, we had boys to parties, and they would ask me what we did. And at one point, I said, well, we sat in a circle with one person in the middle, blinded, and when he finished spinning the milk bottle, whatever the nose pointed to, he got to unblind himself and go kiss that person. Uh-oh.
Trouble.
I heard that word kiss. Then the next time I was out, it was in Forest Park, and it was the opposite of hide and go seek. One person hid, and if you were able to find him, you got kissed by that person. Uh-oh. 2 kisses.
Strike 2.
They thought, no more girl boy. We'll send her to an all-girls school. Well, then I had my choice between what I considered a snob school of all girls and a confined school of nuns in long, dark corridors, but a warm, friendly attitude. So I chose the dungeon over the snobs. And I was so really taken in.
Were you scared? Were you
No, my
defiant?
first
Did you when they suggested this, were you like, oh, no way am I going to that, or were you okay with it? With the decision to go to first of all, a Catholic school, or to,
Well, since the decision was mine, of course I felt okay with it.
and what attracted you to the dungeon?
Because of the fact that the warmth of the sisters. And my first 7th grade teacher, which would have been the grade I entered, I for some reason was late getting to class, and she had her back turned, writing on the blackboard our homework, which I had never done, never even heard of it in the public school.
Homework?
No, it was the Dewey system. You learned by osmosis, if you learned at all, when you were ready.
Interesting.
And at 5th grade, I decided, all those letters on the eve of the classroom, I think I better learn them in order to use a dictionary or whatever. So in 10 minutes, I had them all memorized. Nobody taught me. I had to learn it by osmosis. Well, that's training came to a direct halt when I chose to go to the visitation sisters instead of the snobs.
And was it hard?
Oh, when that sister was assigning homework, which I had never had.
And this is what, late 1940s?
It was when I was in 7th grade.
Okay, so probably
Well, you do the
1943.
math. That's beyond
1943. You're born in 1930. I think I'm doing that
You
right.
got it.
During the Second World War. This was during the war, right?
Yes. And so everybody, the bell rang and everybody got up and ran, and I was so dismayed. I picked up this heavy top from my desk, and the tears were rolling down. And Sister noticed, and she came around. She said, "What's the matter, dear?" I said, "I don't know what you're talking about up there. It's Greek to me." And she said, "Oh, never mind. I'm having study hall today at 3 o'clock, and I come up to my desk and I'll explain it to you." 3 o'clock? Study hall? Never had such a thing. Well, anyway,
Wow.
I did as she said, and she was so patient and understanding with me that I developed an immediate crush on her. Started to do the diagramming of these sentences out of my nose. It was so much fun because I was so attracted, and she did such a good job of explaining. So from then on, I really was attracted to that lifestyle who could be of service to other young women like myself.
Somebody that could help.
Right.
Wow. So when did you enter the convent? What made that decision? How did you come to that? Because that's a big one.
Well, at age 14, I knew that's what I wanted to do. But my mother said, "Well, darling, you haven't even dated yet. You know what it's like to be a mother and raise kids." And I'm thinking, who cares? But I'll do it. So I had at least 25 young men lined up before I decided to announce that I was going to enter the convent.
Wow. So you checked that box.
Yep.
Those poor guys.
You answered that question. Wow, that's great.
Oh, they don't know how lucky they were. I think.
So you were actually entered the convent at 14.
No.
When did
that's
you
when
enter?
I made up my mind.
Okay. When did you enter the convent?
Well, when my mother said, "You don't know what it's like to date," I thought, okay, I'll play the game. So, like I said, 25 along
You went
the
through
line.
25 guys.
Yeah. And so,
None of them interesting.
well, no, because I already had my mind made up at 14. I wasn't going to change
And they didn't
it.
change your mind.
No.
Wow, that's pretty amazing.
Huh.
So when did you go in?
After I finished college.
Where was that?
Where? It was in St. Louis. But I switched from the sisters to my father's for the last 2 years at Washington University, where he graduated with a law degree.
And what were you going to study there? What were you going to study, and what did you study there?
I was studying, well, I got the degree in BA, whatever that means.
General studies. Yeah. So, and then you entered the convent after that, and
well, I did the dating game, and then at age 23, I decided this is it. No more playing games. I'm going to do it.
And what was the voice you heard? Because I heard a lot about conversion and,
Well, it really was the example of that sister that drew me in the first place. And, well, I just never thought anything else after that.
What was the best part of that?
That made up my mind, yeah.
What was the best part of being a sister? What's been the best part of that, of being a nun? Because there's a lot of mystique about nuns. What's it like? Not a lot of people talk about it. But what has been the most fulfilling part of that life for you for the last 70 years?
I think the reason that I was drawn to it in the first place was to be of service to others. And since that has been the objective the whole time, that's been sustained. And so, I really like to be of service to others when and where possible.
So at what point did you start running? When did this whole idea of triathlons, marathons, competing, athletics, when did that enter your world?
It was a strange thing how God works in mysterious ways. We were having an informal gathering with this priest who was going to give us this conference on the following weekend. So he started expounding on the benefits of running. And I said, that doesn't make any sense to me. I've been in interaction sports where you use running, but I can't get out there and run for no good reason. And he said,
well, what's the point?
Yeah. But when he said that it harmonizes mind, body, and soul, all of a sudden it clicked in.
Worth a shot.
Yeah. And as a whole person, you do this, and you get the fulfillment of completing your person, so to speak.
So did you just start running? Just like, well, he said that, let me go just like take a jog, or at what age was this?
Well, he said, when I said there's no good reason, he said, well, there are 2 eddies out there, and all you have to do is run between the 2 eddies. That's your goal. I thought, what? I walk those eddies all the time. But running up, what difference does it make? So when I came in the side door, there he was. No. We were on our vacation spot. This happened to be Portland, Oregon, on the beach.
Oh.
And so when I came in the side door, he was there. And he said, well, this was dark at night. He said, where have you been? I said, oh, doing what you said. Oh, I said, and what's that? Well, I ran between the 2 eddies. And he said,
in the dark.
He said, do you know how far that is? I said, yeah, about a half a mile. And he said, well, how long did it take you? I said, well, I've only done that for 5 minutes. He said, well, this is just the beginning. You got to keep it up now to get the runners high.
You did a half a mile in 5 minutes.
Yeah.
So this is
that
a
was
gift.
on no training, but I'd walked it before, so I was used to the beach.
So you've got a gift.
Well,
do you think you
then
have
I
a gift?
realized
Like, that's easy. That was easy for you.
Yeah.
If I did that, I'd be dead probably.
Well, I'm
Barely
still
alive.
here.
I know. So did you find it fun or easy or?
Oh, very easy. When he was there at the door when I came in, and he said, what'd you do?" I said, "I've been running, ran between the two eddies." And when he said that I took it only 5 minutes, he said, "Well, you got to keep this up. You've got to do this at least 5 a month before you can get the runner's high. Do you know, after all these years, I still do not know what the runner's high is? I only know it's work."
So you don't actually have an experience of it being.
I'm
What do
elated
they
to
mean
get
by
to the
that?
finish. Let's put it that way. I'm elated to get to the finish. But it's
so
work
how
in
old?
between.
What year was this when you started doing that? When you ran between the eddies in Portland on the beach?
Well, my goodness sake. I had to be in my 40s at least.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. So you're in your 40s, really have never run.
No. Well, except in interaction sports.
Sure. But you pick it up at 40.
Yeah, just to run.
And then you started running. And when did you realize that you could actually get into, run with other people, get in competitions?
Well,
and was
only
competing
5
a big
weeks
deal?
after I started this little trotting along the beach, I saw this poster on the photography window where I had done my photography developing, and it was advertising the second Bloomsday here in Spokane.
So you were in Spokane at that point.
Mm-hmm. By then. And so I thought, all these horrible people bunched against each other. I rejected the whole idea.
Because there was, at its height, there was second year, so it wasn't too bad.
Lot of
but at its height, it got to 60,000 people running in that race.
No, but then it was only like the second year.
Maybe 10,000.
No, 5.
5. Still, a lot of people. Too much for you.
5,000 people? Yeah, well, the running itself was only 5 weeks after I started running.
Okay, so this is right away.
Right.
You started running, and then here's Bloomsday, which is
yes.
a 7K or 10K.
It was
7.5 miles.
8.2 that year.
8.2 miles.
Yes, yes.
So how'd you do? So what made you do it if you thought there's too many people?
Well, I had a brother I have 3 brothers at the point, and one of them I knew was troubled with alcoholic problem, and I figured I would like to do this for him, hoping that my will to endure would help him have the endurance.
Wait, what was that? Your brother? You have 3 brothers, and one of your brothers was dealing with alcoholism, right?
So I felt that if I endured running, it would help God to transfer my will to endure to him to give up his dependency on alcohol.
Wow, that was like your gift.
Mm-hmm. So that's what started me going.
Wow.
And then after 5 weeks, I'd never been so cruel to my body in my life.
What do you mean?
Well, I didn't know anything except running, and I didn't know you're supposed to just cool down and work up before
Stretch.
running.
Yeah.
And so...
Wow. You were just really a novice.
I was raw, really, really raw. And like I said, I've never been so cruel to my body in my life, because on a library floor, I had learned to do some exercising before you start off running. And my body was trashed. And because I didn't even have running shoes, I just had these little thin-soled donation tennies.
Oh my gosh.
And that's what did it. But I didn't
So how'd you
know
do? But you did the race.
Well, I did, but I had a benefactor who found out what I wanted to do run the 8.2 mile Bloomsday. So he
For your brother, which is a pretty cool
he
thing.
was determined to take me shopping to get a real pair of running shoes.
It's probably a good idea.
Well, we went to at least 5 different stores, and in those days they didn't have widths; they just had lengths. And of course, I didn't fit in any of them they had.
Wow.
But I knew he wasn't going to be satisfied if we didn't go home with at least something. So the very first ones I tried on at least fit lengthwise. So we got those. So that was just a week before running this race.
Oh my gosh.
Getting used to a new pair of shoes on top of...
Here come the blisters.
Yeah, well, it was quite an endurance contest, that's for sure.
How'd you do in the race?
You know what? I think I actually ended up being 4th out of 300. Yeah, so I wasn't quite bad on those.
I would say not. So was it, when you finished, was it fun, satisfying, or
It was elating.
It was elating.
Elating.
Why?
Yeah. Because I'd accomplished my goal.
Right. And that's what it was for you.
Yeah.
So fast forward, when did you really start to know that you could compete? I mean, you had to know right then. If you finished from 4th out of 300, that's pretty good.
Well, I had suffered so much in the process that I decided I never wanted to do this to my body again.
So you were going to quit.
So the only thing to do was to keep going.
What do you mean?
Yeah. I mean, I gotten to the point
To get in shape.
and I'm not going to...
Yeah, you came this far.
Yeah,
Oh,
I'm not
that
going to
makes
cash out.
So then you kept running and you
Yeah.
kept running.
Yeah.
And then when did you really start to win and compete at that level?
Almost
Because you...
immediately.
Wow.
Because apparently I had the
gift.
wherewith.
Yeah. And it's become kind of a ministry for you, hasn't it?
It has, come to think of it, yeah. It has,
'Cause-
because it's brought so many people into my life. Actually, the triathletes and the runners were like family to me,
And you must have inspired them.
obviously.
Yeah. So do you remember the first time you ran the Ironman? So can you explain what that is? Because I think a lot of people don't know how many miles that is for the Ironman, and in Hawaii, right? The Hawaii Ironman triathlon.
Yeah, that was about the only Ironman at the time. A friend of mine who I had been running with had done the 83 Ironman and came back, but that was the year of the tack attack, when somebody that lived by did not like the idea and came out and strew these tacks.
Oh my God! In Hawaii?
Yes. And so there was a lot of flats on the bike.
Oh.
But that was the only year that ever happened.
Did you do that one?
No, that was the year he was talking about, that he said I should try this. And of course I rejected it because I could not see getting in the water with all these flaying arms and legs.
So you're a runner, but you hadn't swam nor biked much.
No. In fact, the one who, the benefactor that got me the running shoes had to hunt for a bike for me, which neither of us knew. It was a man's bike that was an inch too high with the top bar than was necessary for me.
And you're going to go to Hawaii
Yeah.
with this? Wow. And this is
Well-
83. Wow.
No, my first triathlon
Wasn't
was in 85.
but it wasn't Hawaii, or was it?
Yeah, it was.
It was 85. And how were you prepared for that? How'd you do?
Well, come to think of it, the man who urged me to do this, both of us we had done the swim, we had done the biking. We were running into the finish line together.
No way.
Yeah, yeah,
Just by happenstance, that had to be
yeah.
incredible. What's his name?
What's his name?
Yeah. Do you remember?
Well, if you didn't ask me, I would have.
Of course. Well, if it comes to you, let me know.
Yeah.
Wow, you finished. So you finished that. That must have been maybe the greatest accomplishment ever at that point.
Oh, it was. It was really elating, especially to be able to do it with him.
Yeah.
I think I was an inch ahead of him in the photo.
That's great. You know, Zach, who helps produce this podcast, you met him earlier, and he said he ran and finished a marathon when he was 16. And one of the things he wanted to know from you is how do you he experienced the battling of the voice in his head telling him he can't finish it.
Oh.
Or you know what I mean? The mental part of this where it's like, you can stop, it's okay. You don't have to keep going. You know, how do you battle that? Is that a part?
I have to say that it's as much a psychological endurance as well as physical.
Right. I would imagine.
And I had the psychological strength.
Is it because of your faith? Mm-hmm. So what would happen? Would you hear the voice that says,
no, I'm going to do it. 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 I did it.
And that's all you thought the whole way? Wow. Is that a gift too, or do you think that's...
No, it's my makeup. Well, that's a gift.
Sure is.
I didn't plan it.
I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. I did it. That's pretty great. That's pretty great. So at what 85 you finished that. So you would have been 55.
Yeah.
Your first triathlon was at 55. That's not...
No, that's a little uncommon.
That's a little older.
There weren't that many older women doing this at that point in time.
How many were there? Did you have your own class at that point?
I was on the stage all by myself, just for the running one now. I hadn't even gotten into the triathlon part. And this was the capital city, a marathon over there in Olympia. And I'm up on the stage all by myself. And I said, I'm lonely up here. When is somebody going to join me? Do you know, after that, boo!
They started to.
Yes. And the Ironman one year actually had more 65 plus women in that age group than any other.
So you had to be an inspiration for that.
Well, I guess.
Were you the first one? Were you the oldest to finish it that year, the first year you did it?
Oh, yeah.
Have you ever not been the oldest to finish it? You know what I mean? I mean, right?
Well, last year, no, maybe it was the year before. It was the first year of COVID, 2020, which was my last triathlon.
You ran in 2020?
Yeah, I was 90.
At the Ironman?
No, it wasn't the Ironman. No.
Okay, but it was a marathon.
It was a triathlon.
It was a triathlon. Okay.
In Colorado.
In Colorado. So
I had never
that
been.
would have been how many miles of running and biking?
It was Olympic distance, which I guess the swim would have been. I don't know.
1.5. 1.5 usually.
Well, that would be a half, wouldn't it? Yeah. 1.5 would be a half.
Was it more than that?
No, Olympic is a fourth. Oh. A fourth.
Okay, so you finished an Olympic triathlon, which is a fourth of the Ironman, at 90. Mm-hmm. How'd you do?
I finished.
How'd you feel?
Well, I felt fine to get it over with.
So the last, I recall this, I may be wrong, but I remember watching you on ABC with the, almost live. I think Keeley Jones won it that year. The last year that you competed in the Ironman in Hawaii. Tell me about that. You were 79, am I right?
I think it was 76, maybe?
76. And you finished it, but barely, right? Before the time limit. There's a time limit.
Yeah.
It was pretty late. Do you remember that?
Oh.
Tell me about that.
Yes. That was when I was 85. And it was not a very good Hawaiian day to begin with.
What do you mean?
Well, that was the year they had the earthquake over there.
Jeez.
And this was just a week later.
Oh, man.
So the weather was not keen
Right.
to begin with.
Rainy, cloudy.
Yeah. And so there was a current out there in the water. So I was about 15 minutes behind what my time for swim normally would have been. And then on the bike, it started to rain. And of course, sunglasses wouldn't do any good. So I'd have to take the glasses off and close my eyes and bike open, shut, for at least 15 miles until we got out of that. And then the run, of course, was, it was brutal too, because it had not let up. And it was actually blowing from the mountainside over onto the washout. I was running in water about 4 inches
Jeez.
high, and this little voice came to me and said, "Don't you dare run through this. If you fall, you won't be able to get up." So I said, okay. So I just kind of walked through and walked over to the curb, but I couldn't see the curb because it was underwater. So I slipped trying to get up and fell on both my knees. And of course, everybody had gone undercover. No spectators, except all of a sudden, out of nowhere, came apparently this husband and wife to lift me up.
Wow.
And so I didn't even look to see if I was bleeding or not because I knew the rain would wash it off. And I don't even think I had a chance to say thank you, which I regret, but finally got through it.
Wow. Well, maybe they're listening and you can thank them now.
Yeah. Good idea.
And you finished.
Mm-hmm.
What was it? Was it late?
Yeah. It was 54 seconds before the cutoff.
Wow. And so this is midnight, I think.
Oh, yeah. Almost.
Almost midnight.
And cutoff is midnight.
And from what I remember, Keeley Jones, is that who it is? She finished. McKeely Jones. Uh-huh. She won that triathlon well earlier in the day, stayed around and was at the finish line for you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. The people were wonderful. The crowd was there. You know, that really makes it worth it when people get that much enjoyment out of just being a spectator. I think it's marvelous. I mean, that's true of all sports. Without spectators, why would the sportsman want to compete?
Did you get sponsored? You know, you finally got good shoes, good gear, good equipment, knew how to, I mean, you were world class, right? When did that start to come into your life? When, you know, you made sure you had the best of the equipment and the best of the stuff. You know, did they find you or did you find them?
By that time, I guess I had no trouble getting donations from the companies themselves, you know, for the shoes and bikes and the stuff. No, they were very willing. I was kind of unusual, and they thought it was worth the while.
Unusual in a good way. So how has your faith kept you going through all this? How important is it to you, and how does? Obviously, it is.
Well, you know, my standpoint is, God gave us these talents, and we can't use them unless we recognize them to begin with. But once we recognize we've got a talent, we have an obligation to use what has been God-given for His greater honor and glory. And if we don't use it, we ignore his gift.
That's your purpose.
Yeah.
You said to me earlier out there, people get to 50 and they think they're on their way out. What did you mean by that? You're 91 and still running. What did you tell me today? What you ran? Tell me your activity today.
Today I just did the normal, which I have been doing because I don't have any competition and any events
planned.
So today I did my swim, my 2 mile of oaring, and my 2 miles of run walk.
So you ran for 2 miles. You rode for
Rode
for 2 miles, and then you swam today at 91. Okay, that's 3 times more than I did today. At 54.
Oh, that's all right.
So what did you? So you said people get to 50 and they think they're done. What do you say to them?
Well, I don't usually get confronted by them, so I don't have a chance to say anything to them.
Let's pretend. Okay, if I said it to you, what would you say to me? I mean, I said,
you're not done until you think you are. So rearrange your thinking. You become what you think. So be careful of what you think.
That's so true, right?
Yeah.
I completely
in every
agree with
aspect of our being.
Yeah, that. So if you had to say your philosophy of this successful life, what's it been?
Well, I guess first of all to recognize the gifts that you've been given, and then have the willpower to carry through with exercising those gifts.
Have the guts to do it. Yep, try it, finish. So, what advice do you give to people that are thinking that they have the talent to run and or walk and or swim, bike?
Go for it. Use it. What's that saying? If you don't use it, you lose it. Well, you don't want to lose what you've been given, so go for it.
Are you planning on any events, or are events just not happening because of COVID, or do you think you're just not going to compete anymore?
I think my years of competing are over. I have no one to compete against, so it makes no sense. I can still do this exercising on my own, which I'm doing, which is perfectly satisfying.
But do you miss it? You miss the...
No, I've come to realize that, the bygones are the bygones. You're moving on, young lady, whether you like it or not.
What do you love the most in your life?
God. Nothing can replace him, that's for sure.
So when you experience God, do you talk to him every day? How does that relationship?
Like an everyday relationship. Sometimes I'm happy, sometimes I'm not. Sometimes I blame him, sometimes I thank him.
Just depends on how it's going.
Yeah.
But he's there. He's been a part of your life.
Always there, always present.
Been there since that 14-year-old girl.
He lives right in us.
He what?
He lives right in us. How can we get any closer?
If you let him, right?
Yeah, exactly.
That's the trick.
Yeah.
That's the trick. If you could wave your magic wand, you had a magic wand and you could wave it, what would you want to happen for particularly the sports of running and and those who are a part of it? What would you want to have happen that isn't?
With a magic wand, I think in greater terms. And all I would want, if I could wave magic wand, is peace be unto you. Peace. Be at peace with yourself. If you're at peace with yourself, you'll be at peace with others, and we'll be at peace with our brothers and sisters.
Amen. What's your what do you look forward to?
Next day,
What are you gonna do tomorrow? Same run?
I have to find out. First trick is to wake up.
You are just an American treasure. You know that? You really are.
I'm an American, and everybody's a treasure. And you know what? You are a masterpiece of God's creation. You're not just a child of God. You're a masterpiece of His creation because there'll never be another one just like you.
Well, thank God for that. Thanks, sister. Thanks for being on this and being so dang interesting. Oh, last question. I've been asking everybody this. Who's the most interesting person you've ever met?
Oh. You know, I have trouble with that because there's only one I idolize, and that's my maker. And when people come up and say, you're what do they say? You're my idol or something.
Yeah.
I said, that's blasphemy. We want to be our own idol in God's eyes and complete His masterpiece. And that is to stay in touch with Him so you can do what He is leading you, inviting you, willing you to do.
Well, I didn't ask who your idol was. I asked who the most interesting person you've ever met was.
Well, it's somebody I can idolize.
Oh, okay, good answer. But people have idolized you, and you've experienced that, right? You shut them. You shut them down.
I don't think that's a good idea. But you know, people have their own ways to.
It's okay to inspire them. It's okay to inspire somebody, and you've done that a lot. Inspire somebody.
Oh, yeah, that's what they mean. Yeah.
Yeah. You've had a lot of people. How satisfied are you that more women are running now than did when you started? Which was
seems about time.
How many ran when you started? Was it few?
Well, the long ones, yeah.
And now?
Except for the pros. I think there were always women pros.
But probably not as many.
No.
Does that make you feel good?
But there were some pros, women that I really did. I didn't idolize them. I
admired
them.
Who would that be?
Christy Wellington and the one you'd mentioned.
Keeley Jones. Mm-hmm. What did you admire the most about their
attitude? There wasn't the all about me thing in them. It was the joie de vivre, the joy of life. Simply doing it because they loved it.
Not doing it because they wanted something.
No. And you could tell the difference. And they were genuine. They weren't.
They still are.
Yes. Yes.
And they're still running.
Yes.
Well, sister, thanks again. I hope you come back and do this again. Would you do it again? So, the other question is, where did Sister Madonna come from? Was that something you chose? Was that your real name?
Oh no.
What was your given name when you were born?
It means gift of God, and you can look it up.
Your actual name? The name?
It means, Latin, gift of God.
Madonna?
No, my given name.
Oh.
And it's you to do your homework.
Okay. I've got to go figure out what your actual name was.
One of my brothers has the opposite for the men.
Interesting.
His means
gift of God. Okay, I will do some research.
Mm-hmm.
When did you pick Madonna?
I didn't pick it. It was given to me.
By?
The nuns? At my profession. So
that's how that worked.
That's how it works.
They give you that name.
Superior and her team.
Pick your name.
Mm-hmm.
I did not know that. Wow.
I guess I resembled a Madonna. I had long hair and I guess, a peaceful continence. I don't know.
And apparently the Madonna, Mary ran really well too. She was a heck of a runner. They said, no, I don't know that that's true.
There's
Didn't say that in the
other
Bible, I
Madonna.
don't think.
There's that other Madonna. This is interesting.
The other Madonna. Have you ever heard from the other Madonna?
Heard about her,
Oh, yeah.
but
Who, she's Catholic. Well, she was raised Catholic.
yeah.
Shh, you guys be quiet. Be quiet. We're still rolling. We're gonna use this. Okay.
But
I want to hear the story.
my name got to be kind of famous, and it was out in print, and so apparently she has a brother.
Madonna, the singer, the performer, pop artist.
And so there was something online about my sister, Madonna, to draw attention.
Oh, she saw Sister Madonna.
But then, as I came into prominence, you never hear about her anymore at all.
I think you've kind of outshone her, haven't you?
Yeah,
You think she's mad about that?
I have no idea.
Would you meet her if she?
Would I meet her?
Yeah.
Well, of course, I meet anybody.
Wow. Maybe we need to set that up where you could actually meet Madonna. I bet she's amazing.
I don't know if she's around.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Well,
she's still performing.
Is she?
Absolutely. Yeah. Last year, I think she had COVID. Right before, I think she had a big concert
Really?
tour. Absolutely.
Oh, you never hear about
I
her
can't believe you've
anymore.
never met her. She's never contacted you.
Of course.
Well, I mean, I don't know. You're pretty famous.
What would she want with me? Her brother tried to use me, but that was only once.
What do you mean? Oh, he tried to find
Yeah, my sister Madonna.
my sister Madonna, and then
Yeah.
he found you. Did he ever talk? Do you ever talk to him?
Oh no.
Oh, okay.
It
Well,
was just online.
but you would meet Madonna and hang out with her if she reached out. Yeah.
Well, what do you mean hang out?
I mean, have coffee. Have coffee.
I could handle that.
A glass of wine with Madonna.
Well,
I mean, you are the two most famous Madonna, other than the Madonna.
it depends
probably
on how
in
many
America.
The photography she had surrounding her.
A photo shoot,
Yeah.
Madonna and Madonna. Wow, that's kind of cool. You never know. There's some advertising agency that would love to put that together. All right, I'll let you go.
She probably has a place in Coeur d'Alene.
She probably does. Everybody else does.
Here and talk. Just
Sister, thanks again. And for anybody that hasn't, they should go out and get your book, right? The Grace to Race.
It might help them in certain areas of their life.
I bet they would. Well, thanks again for this, and thanks for being the most interesting nun I've ever met.
You're very welcome, sir.
Thanks again to the ageless wonder, Sister Madonna Buter, and the most interesting person you've now heard of. Thanks also to my crack producer, Zach from Easy Productions, Boy Genius producer, sound engineer, and composer of our epic theme music, Nick Swoboda. MIP Podcast was filmed at the studio of Corner Booth Media. Please sure to like, subscribe, and follow us on social media. You can also listen to us on Spotify, Apple Music, and anywhere podcasts can be found.